Okay, so hi, my name is Rob, and I'm just going to do a little experiment here where it's something I've always wanted to do, where to sit down and kind of discuss some of my favorite comic series and books and the artists and the work that I've grown up with over the years. And I know there's a million people that do this online, and this is nothing new, especially Spawn, #1. Everyone's looked at this a billion times, but this is kind of an experiment for me to start out and see how it goes and see if I can do something here that kind of works and isn't too embarrassing to, especially when I hear the sound of my own voice, which is always awkward. So I thought we'd start here. I've got a pile of books I've kind of set aside that I want to look at, and Spawn #1. Why not? Let's start right here. Anyone who was there at the time knows what a cultural phenomenon in the world of comics this was at the time. It's kind of hard to overstate it, and it's hard to explain what it was and what it meant at the time. What was it, 93 maybe when this book came out? Let's see, 1992. Todd McFarlane, artist on Amazing Spider-Man, and then his own Spider-Man title at Marvel for a long time, and he just carried a weight and a power that just was unrivaled and unmatched in so many ways. And he goes off and does his own book. And if you could see the way comics looked previous to this, the coloring, the paper that it was printed on, this along with all the other Image comics, these things just stood out in a way that just caught your eye and you couldn't ignore it. Todd McFarlane, his artwork, his graphic design, his sense of layout and everything like that. He's got a lot of quirky things that a lot of traditional artists would say are not good little ticks on how he does his work, but man, is he eye-catching. He makes you look at it. So you look at these things and you just can't help but just be kind of, as an artist especially, you look at it and you're like, that just looks amazing. Like, how does he do what he does? Anyway, enough of all the jibber jabber, flipping it open. I remember as a kid, this it was so cool. It was so neat. Todd McFarlane, with all the other Image founders, they all had amazing books, but Todd McFarlane seemed like he was the leader of the group. He was kind of the biggest name, the loudest voice, the biggest and most prominent opinions, and everyone paid attention to Spawn. I haven't actually read this book in a long time, having reread it recently in anticipation of this. It's nothing amazing. It's an okay first issue, I guess. The artist in me is the one that's the part of me that's always the most interested in it. His layout, his building designs, everything that he just does with this art is kind of hard to explain. Sometimes words fail me when I try to explain exactly what it is that's amazing about it. But the things that jumped out at me, especially back then and still now, even though coloring would be done differently these days, I really think that the coloring on this just jumps out in a way that just is so eye-catching. I don't know what it is. I can't do color. I can't speak on color, but it really just works. And another great thing is his sense of drama, making these buildings at a slotted, like an angle, just really puts you in a cinematic feel of everything with the story. This is great. The whole news reporters, lots of words. I don't think it tells you anything you need to know. It's kind of pointless. I remember trying to read it all and just like, okay, I'm just going to move on. I really think that there's an interesting kind of, even the layout in this basic 6-panel grid and the colors, like you got colors that are kind of similar color palettes here on the corners and in the center, but then these ones here are its own separate kind of color palette. Just an interesting layout. McFarlane's use of the way he draws energy and explosions. He's just got a vibe that just stands out as him. It just works. More of the same with that 6-panel grid. The color layouts kind of mimicking the same page before. I've always really liked this panel with this energy blasting down into the guy. That's kind of a cool drawing there, though I gotta say, McFarlane's idea of what scary monsters are, these like noseless, horned, clawed teeth demon monsters, it's the exact opposite of scary. It's super not. But that's okay. The layout of this, what a great page. That could be a movie poster. If he does Spawn, he should just put that up and make that the movie poster. How great would that be? The coloring on the moon, his unique sense of buildings and everything. The whole thing just stood out so great. I know I keep saying that, but you couldn't help but just look at this and be just awed by the artwork. And he keeps giving you amazing image after amazing image. Again, the coloring on this, just love it. It just looks so great. That what a powerful design. A great design on a character that just, I don't think many of the other image founders had a singular character that had a great design like this, with the exception of the Savage Dragon, probably. And then, yeah, right there. The pose doesn't make any sense in a real world kind of context. Why is he standing here? Why is he doing this? Why is he holding his cape? Well, anyone who reads comics, and especially artists, you know why he's doing this, because it looks really cool. Like, what an amazing shot. You're looking at that, and you as a kid, you're just like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I don't know what's going on, but it's awesome. And then you get into the basic story. I gotta tell you, this part where you got these characters of Sam and Twitch, these detectives that are constantly on crime scenes investigating stuff, that's something that is in the books nonstop, over and over, and it just gets to be so old. It's one thing when it's here to start, but seems like even up into the Spawn books till today, this is still going on. And that's one of the reasons I end up quitting the book, because it's Sam and Twitch on crime scenes, it's Spawn in an alleyway crying about his life. It just got old and repetitive, and it's just nothing I wanted to read anymore. But at the time, it was like, ooh, this is interesting. What is this new thing that we're looking at? We got to have the obligatory fight for the character to show off his powers. This is something that I never noticed before, but this great picture of Spawn looks great. But what he's doing is there's this, for some reason, there's this exploded, cracked opening of this building. He's dropping into a building. I always thought he was on the outside of a building, because later on in the next pages, he grabs a guy and throws him out of a window. Like, it's like he's coming in a building and being thrown outside. But at first I thought he was outside. Like, this is an alleyway. But I had to pay attention to it. He's like dropping into a building, and now he's inside a building where these bad guys are roughing up a woman. He shows up to fight him. Another pretty cool page there. Spawn grabs the guy, throws him out of the window to the outside. This last panel down here, that always looked really cool. Very simple graphic design. What's interesting is that it looks like this paper, you probably can't tell on camera, but this is still newsprint. But then you get this poster on this slick, glossy paper. And I had a copy of this poster hanging up on my wall as a teenager for years. It just looks great. Even today, that's just something that just looks really neat. And, you know, story goes on. Big cool. I wonder if he did that lettering by hand. I wonder if he did that. This is a weird thing, having Spawn. Sometimes he has a nose in the mask and sometimes he doesn't. This open mouth. The drawing looks cool, but I don't know, kind of a little weird. But again, you're here for McFarlane art. More of his crazy graphic design sense. These repeating images, these tiles of the same picture, twisting in and out, the eye shape there. Little callbacks to Spider-Man with the webbing design there. With the McFarlane, there's always some kind of crazy, funky anatomy here with the arms, how it would connect from her elbow to her shoulder. A little weird. That's fine. More talking people. Spawn roaming through an alleyway. You'll see that about 50 billion different times, but that's just how it is. That's what McFarlane wants to do. I think this page looks amazing. This picture of him, this big bulky cape, this great hand, the clawed fingers, the details on it. And then when he takes off his costume, he's realizing he's this disgusting, meaty, gross-looking figure. What great drawing. This is where McFarlane excels, all this. extra drawing lines and ticks and stuff like that that just give it texture and style. That's a great panel right there. And of course, Spawn in the alleyway crying as usual. Starts here and it basically never ends. And then it ends with whatever he's supposed to be, the Lord of Hell, Satan, whatever. This design, horns, no nose, the big teeth, the tongue, and the claws, it's the least scary demon from hell you'll ever see in any comic, but man, he really leans into it. And that's fine, that's his style, and who am I to argue with his success? He apparently knows what he's doing, but not scary at all. This was awesome, seeing Dale Keown doing, I don't know if this is the first appearance of Pitt, as far as a pinup or something like that. What a great drawing. Another drawing of Spawn here by George Perez, who is an amazing artist, but this image, when you just get done looking at Spawn and you ask an artist to do the coolest image of Spawn that you can come up with, and you have things like, you could have Spawn looking like that, or you could have him looking like that. That doesn't really work. And George Perez is an incredible artist. His legacy is long since cemented and everyone knows who and what he is, but that just doesn't work. And then Todd McFarlane kind of talking about what creating this book meant for him, his life, his career. Always interesting to read. And that's it. This is kind of irrelevant, but these pages, these ads of the books that were coming out, Wildcats Brigade, Spawn, Savage Dragon, Youngblood, man, this stuff was like so crazy. You were so excited for all of this, and so much of it never came out on time, and you lost money ordering it, and then they never showed up for months or years, but some of them did, but at the time, couldn't be more excited. Anyway, Spawn #1, just a place to start. Part of my childhood, my teenage years. Great book, super exciting. All the Image books to start were just this incredible cultural phenomenon that it was the most exciting time I've ever experienced in comics, and I think that goes for a lot of people. So anyway, that's it. I don't have much more to say about it. This was fun. I hope to do more of these. I hope these are interesting. If you like it, let me know. Just give a comment and let me know what you think about it. I'd be curious to hear what you have to say about it, because I'm very low tech. I'm just recording this with the phone, no audio help, no editing, no music, no nothing like that. So kind of boring by comparison, but it's just fun for me. So anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. I do very much appreciate it. See you in the next one. Bye.